Recording in progress.
Проба. 1, 2, 3, проба. 1, 2, 3, проба. 1, 2, 3. Това е английски канал. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, проба. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, проба. 1, 2, 3. А, добре. А български канал?
3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Чуваме ли се добре? Всичко наред ли? Как? Добре. Супер. Значи имаме връзка, което е много добре. Едно, две, три, пет, 4, 7, 8. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 25, 30, 50, 100, 100, 200, 300, 500, 1000, 1200, 500, 700, 300, 500, 200, 1200, 300, 500, 800, 1200, 300, 500, 1600, 900, 500, 3, 5 хиляди. Раз, два, три, 5, 6, 7, 8.
И пробва. 1, 2, 3.
this aside. Скъпи гости, събитията се мрежи, които са включващи устойчиви, подкрепящи жените и справящи се по някакъв начин с онлайн тормоза срещу момичета и жени. Изключително съм щастлива да ви приветствам така дошли. Имаме цяло подкрепа на столичната цена. Така че давам думата на нашите гости за приветствие.
Благодаря ви. Много се радвам на поканата до заместник-ментор в дигитализация и иновации. Чувствам така длъжен съм да присъствам в такова събитие. Дигиталната среда си има своите предизвикателства и аз винаги съм се чудил защо полагаме толкова много усилия да подготвим децата си в физическата среда, как да пресичат улици, как да се върнат вкъщи преди да стане тъмно. А когато им дадем телефоните, не ги подготвяме по никакъв начин. В дигиталната среда тя изглежда измамно приятна, но всъщност и тя си има тъмни ъгълчета, които как се държат и дали изобщо да. Много се радвам на това събитие, че точно този процес и ще ми е много интересно. Аз разгледах много интересни гости, много интересни теми. Пожелавам ви едно приятно изживяване и ползотворни срещи.
Който е директор на Британски съвет в България и Германия, специално дойде вчера.
And of course to the from the municipality, all of our partners. So thank you very much for the work that you have done with us for this year. It's a milestone and we'll continue to build on it. I won't say anymore because I think there'll be other opening remarks later on. But just this is to show our gratitude, our commitment, our engagement to continue and making sure that online spaces continue to be accessible and safe for young people and communities everywhere. Thank you very much.
За цялата работа, която сте свършили, благодаря, че сте заедно с нас в това пътешествие. Ние ще надграждаме на това, което сме постигнали до тук. Няма да говорим много, защото има много теми, които ще се засегнат по-късно днес. Искам да се нашата благодарност и ангажимент по отношение на тези теми. Аз искам само да благодарности към всички, които подкрепиха проекта. Той се финансира в програма СърБ на Европейската комисия. Подкрепа имаме от Столична община, от музея, от Националната агенция за развитие на човешките ресурси и подкрепа на доброволците Европейски корпус за солидарност. И естествено цялата подкрепа, която имаме във ваше лице, да станете с нас, да покажете какво правите, какви прекрасни проекти и продукти сте създали. Всъщност днес идеята е да разговаряме в залата темата, да обмениме опит и експертиза и да видим какво пък хората са създали, да направим един момент между си, за да може всичко това, което вече е създадено, то да продължи да се използва и да живее един нов живот. Така че нека да видим как днес ще процедурим и какъв момент ще се случи в крайна сметка. Така че добре дошли на всички и заповядайте в конференцията. Само да кажа, програмата как ще тече. Готвили сме 3 панела. Може да ги видите през QR-кодовете на английски и на български в програмата. В почивките, естествено, нашите гости в конференцията са поканени да се разходят по щандовете, но сме предвидели между интервал между 3,5 и 4,5, специално време за обход и за разговор с колегите. Най-отзад ще има щандове да си направим принтове. Изработили сме най-различни тематични слогани, свързани с дезинформацията, така че сте добре дошли да си изработите нещо персонално. Така че забавлявайте се днес и нека обмена да тече от всички посоки. Добре дошли!
Едно, две, три. Чуваме се. Чудесно. Така, започваме след секунди.
We are starting in seconds.
Аз се настанявам.
Да, ето тук ти имаш.
Чудесно.
Добре дошли. Искам да поканя господин
Welcome.
Хасан.
I would like to invite Mr. Abdi Hassan
Да каже няколко думи
for
да
his
сподели за
opening
как
words.
ще се
He will tell us about the support of the British Council. Your support is key to the project.
I'll take another stab at some opening remarks. Although we were just gathered outside, but what I wanted to start with, if you would allow me, is to do as loud as possible a round of applause, please, and I will join you.
Аплодисменти. Да.
Thank you very much. It's always great to start a speech with a round of applause. But more seriously, it is not for me. It is for the teachers, for the journalists, for the youth workers, for the artists, for the volunteers who make the digital world a little safer and a little fairer and a lot more humane. Thank you. And that sound that we have just gone through is a sound of energy and hope and the work that has been taking place. I want to share some reflections. The truth is, the reason we gathered here today is because the online world isn't always as safe or hopeful. Every day, countless people, especially women, LGBTQI communities, and people of color face targeted hate online. And I've looked around and I wanted to share some examples. And it was really, really difficult to find examples that are not shocking enough to share, because a lot of what I found online is really, really vile. But these are some of them. You should be burnt alive for what you said. We know where you live. Women like you need to be taught a lesson. She was asking for it. This is a comment on a rape case. Kick them out. They don't belong here. And they've used the N-word talking about black people. You are disgusting. Someone should beat you in the street. This was against a member of the LGBTQI community. The difficulty for me was to find, as I said, ones I can share. And these are the mildest one I found. This is what digital hate looks like when you strip away all the other algorithms and hashtags and so forth. It is raw, it is cruel, and it is deeply shocking. The British Council work has always been about connection, about trust, connecting people through education, culture, and dialogue. And in today's digital age, that mission means empowering citizens, especially young people, to think critically, act responsibly, and stand for equality. Because without them, we will not be able to create a safe online space. Through G-Lens, a partnership between the British Council, IPA Poland, MIX Cyprus, Anais Romania, and Open Space Foundation here in Bulgaria, we've been exploring how gender disinformation spreads and can build resilience. Together, we've supported volunteers, academics across Bulgaria, worked with teachers, journalists, and civil society partners to help young people learn, recognize manipulation, and protect one another. Alongside G-Lens, we have also been running Credible Local Voices program across Bulgaria, Hungary, and Czech Republic, reaching more than 7,000 people directly, over 100,000 online, through our partnership with partners such as Sofia International Film Festival. There are many things to say and to add, but what I want to take a moment to do is to thank our partners. So from me personally, and from the British Council, thank you very much to the following partners: to IPA Poland, MIX Cyprus, Anais Romania, Open Space Foundation Bulgaria, the Association of European Journalists, Sofia Municipality, the Bulgarian Family Planning Association, the French Goethe and the Polish Institutes, the teams behind Sofia International Film Festival, Sofia Documental, National Anti-Trafficking Commission, and every educator, journalist, and volunteer who continues to do this important work. And to all of you who are gathered in this room today, I will leave you with one quote from one of the young people who took part in the program, the G-Lens focus groups here in Bulgaria. Sometimes it feels like we are swimming in information, but drowning in confusion. I wish we were taught not what to think, but how to think. Thank you very much, and I wish you a great conference.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. И сега оставяме в твоите ръце.
Back to you for the first panel. This is Georgi Elenko from the National Children's Network. Thank you. I'm opening this first panel of our Digital Citizens Conference. It's difficult to start after those strong opening words on the hate speech. I will invite now our respected panelist, lawyer Julieta Mandagieva. Applause. Dr. Georgi Petrov. From Poland, Dr. Sonia Horonziak. And Italy, Dr. Elisa Rapetti. Dr. Rapetti. In panel 1 of the International Conference Digital Citizens G-Lens, we will focus on the main rights and digital era. I'm Georgi Elenkov, part of the National Children's Network, the biggest alliance of civil society organizations, rights activists, working with activists across the country. For 2 years now, I will speak a bit slowly in order to make it easier for the interpreters. For 2 years now, we've been one of the 2 organizations together with the Family Planning Association. We support the Family Association in the safe net management. This is a point for the safe net. Safe internet. You will hear about our prevention activities with students. We have been there for 20 years now. Now I'm turning to the panelists. Together with those outstanding speakers and the audience, we will discuss digital technologies, their legal regulation. We will discuss the interaction between technologies and the establishment of digital citizenship. What does it mean to be digital citizens and part of a digital community? Now, I will only explain our rules and then give the floor. Everyone will have 10 minutes for their presentations. After the 12th minute, I will kindly invite you and I will kindly interrupt you and stop you. After your 4 presentations, we will start a direct discussion with them so that you can ask your burning questions. Thanks to Dobby from the British Council, we will also include our online participants. Now we start with our first speaker, Julieta Mandagieva. I'm sure you know her very well. She is a lawyer specializing in digital rights law and regulation of digital technologies, big data, personal data. She has an MA from Queen Mary, and her specialty is media telecommunication. Thank you. I will speak slowly. She is a member of Digital Republic, bringing together lawyers, IT specialists, and other professionals. The mission of this group is to support everyone for the benefit of knowledge. She will speak about digital rights in Bulgaria, and this is a preparation for the human rights report of the Bulgarian Helsinki Committee. You have the floor, Mrs. Mandagieva.
It's up to you to decide how to change the slides. There's a pointer.
Зад проектора има оставен поинтер. Първи панел, първи говорит, трябваше ни тази техническа пауза.
So this would be the official start of the first panel.
Надявам се, че зрителите онлайн ни чуват добре.
I hope that online we also have sound. Thank you so much for your presence here on this sunny morning. I will use the term digital rights because Professor Nelly Ognyanova, she's adamant that this term be used because it's a good Bulgarian term. I was asked this is impressive. This slide is impressive. So on this chapter of the rights, the report of Bulgarian Helsinki Committee, they asked me first to explain what digital rights is about, because the law of digital technologies platforms is something emerging. It's something novel. thanks to case law of courts, attempts to regulate this that are quite hesitant at the backdrop of the dynamic geopolitical situation. Really, it's like volcanoes brewing. So this really explosive environment, we have fragile rights. They are like borderline. They differ from conventional terms depending on the way they are exercised or not. In Bulgaria, these issues become more and more topical. In 2023-2024, so in order to kick off the talk, let's start by saying that digital rights are human rights in a digital environment. There's another aspect too. These are standalone rights too. And they are related to platforms and networks. I don't have the time to speak about all the aspects, but I will focus on some aspects that are debated. One such right would be right to information. It's understood very broadly, both in terms of receiving information and the right to provide information on the part of active users. This right last year was manifested through the historical bar case. It's in the report. I invite you to read this in the report of the Bulgarian Helsinki Committee. The historical part, for those who don't know, is an initiative that got transformed into a political initiative. Initially, it was like a nationalistic initiative to revive heroic past through reconstruction, historical reconstructions and artifacts that are not historical original artifacts. It's located in northeast Bulgaria. So around this historical park, massive fundraising started. And it was Capital magazine weekly made a big coverage on that. And Lubomir Zhechev decided to make a film on that. And this film provoked different responses by institutions. And basically this resulted in censorship. They started interviewing, or rather interrogating people who bought tickets to see the film. They focused on the creator of the film. Well, this is not consistent with the right to expression. This led to a very lively debate in the social media, and usually such debates are not thoroughly authentic. There may be influences through bots and other technologies. With such means, polarization is sought. In the States, recently you can see how a spillover can happen from the digital environment in the real life. Charlie Kirk's murder is one, assassination is the example. So this is one case study in the report of the Bulgarian Helsinki Committee. I don't have the time for the other digital rights. Here, this would be the dilemma in the nutshell. On the one hand, we have the right to expression and information. and on the other hand, the attempts to curb this right through removing pages, massive reporting, and the financial influence in a quasi-moderator's role is very important. And whoever can pay for more reports, something to be removed, they manage to have censorship. Posts are being removed, websites are being removed. One such example would be the removal of the website of the Justice for All. And the explanation is that it's a national security threat, the service. So more than a year and a half in the EU, the regulation, the Digital Services Act is in force. It provides for very mild regulation when allowing social media, they have some rights to remove without explanation content. However, we in Bulgaria it is not transposed yet. This is all in development. We'll see how Justice for All will respond to the removal. We'll see how this will play out. We'll see if some courts, national, supranational authorities will respond. So, illegal content, what this is about. The Digital Services Act provides for the following: illegal content to be restricted or for the purposes of removal, legally or illegally, content. Meta-legally removal of content happens now. And, for example, content that is political satire are being removed because of the strong authority and the big powers of the nation, the Combating Organized Crime Directorate. And litigation can be initiated on this. We may see how this happens. So, in this context, the relevant the transposition of the Electronic Services Act in the national legislation is very important in order to define the electronic environment in our little nook that Bulgaria is against the global context. Illegal content. Something that is quite close to it, disinformation. Since the pandemic, and maybe even before that, but the pandemic really made this flourish. We know that this is mushrooming across the social media. Sometimes even people with the best of intentions reproduce this because they don't know that they are part of an information funnel. This is the reverse of the right to information. This information compromises, harms the fabric of society, the very fabric of society, because it worsens existing rifts or creates new rifts. Again, what happened in the States several months ago. Here, in a milder form, we can see the same. Such information events have been reviewed by the Commission against discrimination on the grounds of hate speech. This would be speech targeting the ethnicity of a public figure anti-Semitic discourse. There's such a decision already, or the Commission. So we know only too well, even before the social media from the last century we know. So they're very interesting phenomena. Advertising helps further disseminate this. We can see this in Romania, mobilizing this potential through the algorithms of social media. So advertising plus social media, we have enormous impact that would influence electoral voting activity and could possibly change outcomes of voting based on data and versus disinformation. So we have the rhetoric, we have the neuropsychological approaches too. This, of course, affects the political rights of citizens and the voting, the right to voting, to vote freely and in an informed way. So I would invite you for closing words. For many years, back from 2019, Digital Republic is a claimant on a collective action against the National Revenue Agency, class action against the National Revenue Agency on leakage of personal data, financial data of almost all Bulgarians that are working age. And so this litigation had a lot of obstacles. There were attempts to terminate it, but it's still on, albeit distant in time. And actually, all the measures against the National Revenue Agency were lifted or rescinded, and this litigation is the only measure left standing. And it's, of course, the basis is that GDPR and both the state and business have to abide by this. So, actually, we have directly implementable regulations of the EU, and Bulgaria, however, still hadn't done much in order to enforce it. One recent example is about a bill about imprisonment if you disseminate personal information about politicians, the latest thing.
Thank you, Mrs. Mandajeva. Welcome here. Thank you for speaking concisely about those fragile digital rights, the mobilization of bots and trolls, which results in censorship, the delicate question, sensitive issue of the Digital Services Act, the division in society, and the class action against the Revenue Agency. We will continue discussing those issues when we have a discussion panel later. Prepare your questions for lawyer Mandajeva. Now, Dr. Georgi Petrov from the Civil Participation Forum, we know him very well. I will share a couple of facts about him. He has over 20 years in creating, developing civil society networks. For the past years, he has been active in empowerment of citizens, active participation of citizens in decision making, including through digital platforms. He has rich experience as a lecturer in vocational and higher education. He has a PhD from Sofia University. His topic is empowerment of digital citizens, citizenship and online tools
Заповядайте, доктор Петров.
Dr. Petrov, you have the floor.
Благодаря. Аз ще се възползвам и аз от възможността да не съм седнал.
I will
защото ми листи много
stand in front of you.
Признавам си, че 10 минути са ми малко.
10 minutes is a very short time, so we will help you.
Това няма да спре хронометъра.
And this will not stop your time running. Some context why I am here in front of you to speak about this topic. The Civil Participation Forum is a network of civil society organizations, over 100 in Bulgaria, working in different areas. We are brought together by the understanding that active civil participation is the basis for all democratic processes. We cannot have functioning democracy without active citizens. That is why we study civil participation in Bulgaria, and we make efforts to improve the environment and enhance citizen participation, including digital participation. Each of us on a daily basis uses digital tools, platforms. These are everywhere, and they create our habits in using digital tools. Those who want to have a good dialogue with us as citizens should take into account all this. In Bulgaria, we have a number of laws which oblige institutions to consult their decisions with citizens. I will quote an example, for instance, the municipal budget, which must be subject to public consultation before its adoption. There are other examples as well. Some years ago, the main consultation method was an offline event, in person. I'm not saying institutions are to blame, but normally there was little interest, little attendance to those events. Over the past years, this has changed, and COVID played a role here. It suspended those offline events for some time. Some of the consultations happened online. For example, Strategy BG is a website platform where we can have access to documents and we can consult them. Our organization and others supported many municipalities in shifting from offline consultation towards online consultations or hybrid consultations. This also educated citizens and taught them to participate more actively. The involvement of people, citizens, in particular younger people, became stronger. So far, they didn't take part so much in such discussions. In order to use those digital tools effectively, they need to be regulated by law, so that what is discussed during the consultation can be passed into the law. Institutions have some room for improvement, though. Unfortunately, the representative of Sofia municipality left already, but with our support, Sofia municipality passed an ordinance on public consultations 10 years ago. It was replicated in other municipalities later. It regulates the public consultations, and we also helped Sofia municipality to introduce digital instruments in the citizen budgets. I congratulate Sofia municipality that last year they introduced a digital tool for citizen budgets. It was opened recently, and you can submit your your initiatives, your proposals by the 10th or 11th of November. It is very important to be active as citizens because inclusion is a two-way process. Without us, it is impossible. That is why I insist it is important to create, to build capacity at institutions and at the level of citizens. People will be involved if they believe their opinion matters. Over the years, we have been advocating in the municipalities where we work. We see that a public consultation which brought 7 or 8 people in a previous edition brings a couple of hundred participants in a hybrid format. So citizens see their voice and their voice matters, and they are more active. Why digital platforms? Communication between citizens and institutions is more intensive, more inclusive. As I said, we overcome a number of obstacles. For instance, young people who are used to digital participation join this discussion. Of course, there are people who are not so digitally experienced, but there are parallel offline events for them. This mobilizes minimum resources at the institutions. They are also available everywhere online. You only need a device in order to get connected to the internet and browser. I will quote an example with a digital platform. I'm using this example because I have been using this platform mostly. This is the biggest platform, but there are many other platforms. Sofia municipality uses a platform used by Barcelona, and Conso is Madrid's platform. Those two open code platforms are very useful, and there are many others which provide similar services. You can see this platform is available around the world. What are the benefits? This is a free of charge platform. It is easy to adapt to the needs of the institution. I'm not speaking only about municipalities. You will see that it is used to achieve a good dialogue. In a number of situations, such platforms enable the inclusion of all processes in consulting. So they mobilize citizen participation. It is easy to modify because it is an open code system. There is a network of developers ready to support us if we face a problem. It has high levels of security in order to guarantee the citizens that the data they provide to the platform are safe. This is a priority issue. These are some of the modalities of this platform. I have less than 3 minutes. I will only cover those issues very fast, and during the question and answer session, I will reply to your questions if you have any. Citizen proposals. This is an option where citizens can give their proposals. other citizens support this proposal, and it is further adopted or rejected. In Madrid, citizens proposed a change in paying tickets in the public transport. It was approved by the municipality, and this is now in place in Madrid. You see there is a voting process, it's a separate unit because it has a number of options. Citizens can vote online with a ballot and so on. Nobody is banned from voting. Now, joint lawmaking. How many of you have worked in creating regulatory documents? You know how difficult it is. You have a document of 150 pages and it has to cover all points of view. This joint lawmaking enables the process. It is a visible online platform. It optimizes the process. Citizen budget. It is already available in Sofia municipality. It is a more complicated process. It goes through a couple of stages. The municipal council in Sofia has a different solution from what you see here, but the municipality decides what share of the budget to be reserved for citizen budgets. Citizens bring up their proposals, support different proposals, decide whether they're feasible, and those with the highest number of votes will be implemented. From different processes we create a single process. So this is something that happens across the process. Discussions, of course, there are Facebook groups where we have a number of discussions, but this platform channels the communication between citizens and the institution, and also it is officialized. It has the same value as submitting our document to the registry of the municipality. It will be handled, it will be taken into account. I will sum up those slides. What an institution needs to do? First, it has to pass a decision to allocate resources to ensure the technological resources, either internal or external, to motivate citizens and to ensure the ongoing, continuing operation of this system. Final slide. Some examples. Colombia's government used this tool to create a national development plan. In Uruguay, they use it as a mechanism to create the national strategy for open governance. In Paris, they use the platform to decide how to use the city public housing budget. In Buenos Aires, they use a module for budgeting through participation for the management of more than $30 million. In Madrid, they allocated 100 million euros for the implementation of citizens' ideas. Two big squares in Madrid were built thanks to that. In Slovenia, a small town actually, they included citizens with this tool. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Petrov, for this summary on our newly acquired habits for digital per citizenship, for presenting the council platform. The dialogue will be taken further. I want to see the points of intersection between the first two presentations. When a platform for a public hearing is under siege by bots. So we'll leave this for the discussion later. Dr. Petrov led us to Spain, Slovenia, Uruguay. However, we'll hear out good practices from Poland and Italy. Dr. Sonia Horonziak, and she will be presenting. She's from the Institute on Public Affairs in Poland. She is teaching professor at the Warsaw University, graduate from the Jagiellon University in Krakow, and between 2020 and 2023 she was scientific contact specialist with the Polish Academy of Science. For many years she's been cooperating with academia across the world and in Poland, working with different organizations, Bulgarian included. She's author of many publications on political polarization and many other such topics. So she will speak about disinformation. Yes, Attorney Mandagieva, this is the topic, and how it impacts democratic processes. Yes, Dr. Petrov, this is to you. And polarization of public opinion. Let's welcome Dr.
Thank you very
Horonziak.
much for having me here. Sorry for not speaking in Bulgarian. I tried to work on my Cyrillic, but maybe next time, But today, yes, I want to, because of the topic of this conference and of the Julian's project, of course, I want to talk about polarization and disinformation and how it actually interacts with every other democratic institution and process that we are having, and why, especially nowadays, it's really relevant times to spread of disinformation. So I will show some slides and some pictures to actually paint a picture of how is it interconnected. Unfortunately, how is it interconnected, how disinformation is interconnected within today's societies. And we see this is the Eurobarometer, so it's done among the European member states. The survey is from this year, from spring, and we have the question if the rapid spread of disinformation is a major problem for democracy. And as you can see, almost citizens of all our European Union countries says, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Everyone are aware of that. I don't know what's happening in Czech. They are a little bit less aware of that. But still, majority of citizens on the European Union believes that disinformation is a major problem for democracy.
Pardon me, Dr. Natural for me, but I may kindly ask you to speak a bit slower in service of our interpreters. But thank you very much for the good tempo. It's very, very good.
This is the problem that I always have. Okay, slower. Yeah. So, and now, if we are seeing that kind of picture, the question is it good that we are aware that this is a problem for democracy? On the one hand, one should say, of course, but not entirely, and I'm going to show you why. So I want to talk about the political disinformation. So the disinformation in the political zone that undermines trust in institutions, that divides societies, that makes us more polarized, and that erodes norms. And this is happening, and nowadays we are talking about polarizations everywhere. And the question is it necessarily true? Are we really that polarized? So I just want to show you two pictures. The first one is from 2014. And this is the score by Videm, how much polarized world societies are. As you can see there, everything that is bluish, it's rather fine. We are not so polarized. Everything that is, more towards red means the society is polarized. Here you can see Bulgaria, quite good, 2014. In Poland, not so much, but still, okay, fine. In Europe, generally, rather positive. Now, let's take us forward 10 years. and you can see what happened to the war. So you can see that Poland is bright red right now, this very high end of the polarization. Bulgaria also got a little bit worse, fortunately not so much, but still. But you can see, like, if you do this and this, basically we are getting more and more polarized. And what does it mean? It means that because polarization is a political tool, the consensus within the polarized societies is only found within one political camp. So we have division, us versus them. What does it mean? If one group says something false about the other group, everyone is going to be, yeah, that is it. Because we can agree only within our camp. So that means that it's very easy to spread disinformation in the more polarized societies. However, and this is actually like the main point of my presentation here, the exposure to disinformation. Okay, we know that people in European Union perceive disinformation as a danger, but do they actually encounter it? Do they meet the disinformation? Do they come across? This is the question from the same Eurobarometer. Do you often come across disinformation? As I could see, yes. Most of the countries, most of the respondents, of course it differs among the countries, but even in like Estonia or like in Czech Republic, still over like 60% of citizens encounter disinformation often. I'm not even saying about like here, Hungary, Cyprus, Greece, that have like the extremely, extremely high levels of coming across disinformation. And you might think, well, it's a good thing that people know that there is this information, they know they see it, they encounter it, they can acknowledge it. On one hand, yes, we are more aware that disinformation exists. We have, conferences about it, we hear about it, media are spreading information about it. However, when there is so much disinformation, we feel that everything that we hear is disinformation. What does it mean? We stop believing in everything, yes? We are becoming more cynical. We are saying that media are spreading disinformation, all kinds of media. We are saying that institutions are spreading disinformation. People are spreading disinformation. So we feel that disinformation is all around us. So we lose trust. And here's another thing, also from this Eurobarometer, do trust in media, in general, in any kind of media. Majority of European Union citizens tend not to trust. As I was saying, of course it differs. In Finland, they do trust, like 80% trust. In Poland, 50% trust in media. However, in Cyprus or Greece, around 20% trust in media. Majority of respondents do not trust the media. Then maybe, okay, I cannot get the information from media. I know that there's a lot of disinformation. Maybe institutions. So we can see trust in the institutions, political parties, very bad. No one believes them. National governments, this is the average for the European Union. Of course, also not so great. National parliament, not really. Justice system, a little bit better. With the local authorities, it's getting better. However, and this is some constant, the trust toward public democratic institutions in European Union is declining over the years. So we have disinformation. We are aware that there is disinformation in the world. However, we don't trust any kind of institutions or media or sources to get the information. And where does disinformation, especially in political realm, spreads? In digital space. This is #1 source of disinformation. Social media, online news platforms, any type of blogs, communication. This is where disinformation is being spread. It can be spread by individual users. It can be spread by organized influence groups like foreign interference as well. Second point, also digital realm, bots, AI, chats. There as well we can see disinformation, and unfortunately politicians as well. and I will refer in a moment to the first presentation, actually, like the implementation of any regulation is also mixed with the political sphere. However, we can see that sources of disinformation are mostly digital realm. So now we have where the disinformation spread. We know we don't really trust media, we don't really trust institutions, so where do we actually come to get the information that maybe we will believe in? And I will show you the research particularly focused on young people. This was the research that was done in the Central Europe on youth population from 16 to 29. As you see, this is the case of Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia. And Poland, the number 3 sources of gathering information about public events from young people: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. In Hungary, online media sites, YouTube and Facebook. Slovakia, Instagram, publicly available web portals, and video messages on YouTube. Which means that for young people, the number 1 source of information is not media, public media, it's not institutions, it's not even, family and friends, it's the online sphere where the disinformation is most prevalent and most spread. You can see the division, like I highlighted the Poland here. So even on the 5th place, there's TikTok, then there's publicly available web portals. So there are some other sources of information in Poland. Private radio is surprisingly very high on the list. However, most of the first places, let's say, this is the online sphere that's unfortunately very flown with disinformation. So I don't know how much.
Concluding remarks.
Okay, but thank you, because this is my finishing remarks.
Wonderful.
I want to just point out to some challenges that we need to address it. So first, I would say this is the main point of this presentation, that it is not enough to only make people aware of disinformation that it exists. Because if we will only make, hey, there's disinformation everywhere, what does it mean? That people would stop trusting also the reliable sources. So this is not enough. Then we have poorly regulated digital space. Unfortunately, this was covered by the first presentation, DSA. We have social media companies that are really not in favor of this regulation. The very regulation is not so precise. We have national governments that have a very free will of implement DSA and then do it in various ways. We have also the widespread use of AI to obtain information right nowadays. You don't go even to Google, you go to ChatGPT to get information. And actually, one example, Democracy Reporting International did a research on what kind of information different chatbots, like ChatGPT or different, are giving about elections. 1 in 7 information was false. Because chat won't say, I don't know. They will just come up with something, and they will mislead you even on the so much important topic as elections. And the third thing that I think is my finishing point and keep focus, digital education. As of now, digital education is not being a part of obligatory curriculum, and it's supposed to be, at least I think so, because as you can see from the data, over 40% of 13, 14-year-olds in the European Union lack basic digital skills. As I was saying, it's not only about making them aware, it's also about making them, skilled to actually know who to trust, but not only to distrust everyone. So I think I will finish with this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dziękuję, Dr. Chorąziak, bardzo dobrze. It pains me truly to interrupt any of these esteemed lecturers, because each of these presentations can fill a whole event on its own. But we ought to move forward, so thank you for presenting us so much statistical data, systemized so coherently. In the NGO sector, we have an unhealthy obsession with statistics, so thank you for this. Now switching back to Bulgarian, благодарих на доктор Хорунзяк за тези статистически данни и за този ясен фокус на паневропейско равнище върху
Dr. Horunziak for her presentation on the disinformation and the vicious circle between disinformation, radicalization, disinformation. From the Safe Internet Center and the Children's Network, we are very fond of these figures. We are in an information war. Unfortunately, at the moment, we are losing this war. Now, I will give the floor to our fourth panelist, Dr. Elisa Rapeti from Italy. She has a PhD in social studies and applied sociology. She cooperates, assists in a number of trainings, and she works with the DARE network since 2019 in the field of democratic education and human rights education. She focuses on how rights and pedagogical methods are transformed in digital transformation. She offers her perspective in gender-based inclusion topics, and her topic today is the participation of young people in digital management, pedagogical aspects of digital transformation, especially when it comes to citizenship and democratic education.
Good morning. This is a spoiler. Okay. Thank you for inviting me. It's a very interesting opportunity for me to exchange with you. As I said, I'm a trainer, so I'm not used to have this kind of speech. I usually have this co-creation of knowledge, so help me. I'm from DARE Network. It's a network that works for democracy and human rights education. We work for democrat training, for trainers and for young people, but also with adults, because we know that adults need democratic education too. Since some years, we work on digital citizenship education, because it's something that we have to understand and we have to work with the younger generation. Basically, I will talk to you about the Digital Youth Work project. It's right-sensitive, open, accessible, and democratic. So it's from the UNICEF frame about the right of young people. I don't mention all the partners, but you can see it. So it's an international partnership, and we are working together. But before to go to the point, I want to ask you some opinions. And first one is, do you think it's possible to imagine a digital world without surveillance and control? So I ask you to use your mobile to scan the QR code.
Mentimeter. We love this instrument.
Yes. And you have some possible to answer some options.
Можете да сканирате кода и да се включите онлайн.
QR code and join us online.
Yes.
Maybe if you click a present, we can see larger. Okay. Oh. Okay. One people missing, if maybe. Okay, so the first one, it's covered by the QR code, but it's yes. So we can imagine a different word. Thanks to the people that answer like this. Maybe or no. So I see that it's a main point here in our answer. I come to this question after a week of work that we had with the experts and educators in Madrid for this project. And we discussed a lot about the topics and the methods that we have to use in digital youth work. But when we came to the point on how to guarantee the voice of young people for the possibility to have impact on how digital technology runs, we discovered that we are poor in ideas, poor of power. So the first thing is empower ourselves as trainers, as educators, to understand how it will be possible. Because we know that we have like these big structures and powers that are running above us, and sometimes we are the first that. So I really liked the opening of the ceremony, saying that we have to come back to the value-oriented and political education when we do citizenship and digital education. Because it's about political issues, and sometimes we are afraid to say that, but actually that's the point. Second question. When you imagine a digital world without surveillance and control, what words come to your mind? So let's try to imagine that it's possible. Chaos.
I'm saying online solipsism, in meaning that you create this whole universe of your own and you close and barricade yourself there, so no surveillance, because everyone has their own huge online universe. Yeah. Let's say in 100 years down the road, not now, but yeah.
Okay. Confusion, chaos, freedom, the most voted. Empowerment, disinformation, violence, madness, agora, nature, that's interesting. Education, heaven, trust, scary. Okay, that's interesting, because without control, there is confusion, there is chaos, but there is also freedom. So how we balance it? So that's the point. One ethical question is, do we need control? Yes, I would say. But which kind of control and from whom? That's the point. Who decide the rules? That's something that, as said in the first presentation, institutions trying to do in the digital world, but we know that the counterparts have a lot of power. So how to manage this? And that's another point very important to fix. So thank you for this brainstorming. I will keep with me. It's the first time that I do this question in a big event. I go to the presentation again.
We're switching.
Basically, I want to share with you some information about the analysis that we have done in this project. What we have done is trying to understand the practices and the method that are already used in the digital youth work for digital citizenship education, and trying to understand the gap that we have, what missing and what we consider important to fill. But we have some, let's say, premises, assumptions. Well, the comic strip, it's a quotation, it's a quote from David Foster Wallace, maybe some of you already know. And I used a generative AI to make the comic strip. So that's something good that also generative AI can do. The point is what we consider and what the younger generation consider something that it's part of their life, we have to question it, because the fish does not the water matter, but we know, no? So the point is, the first, it's digital youth work. Digital youth work, it's a youth work. We use this separate name, but actually it's youth work. And it's a youth work in the meaning of when we use the model of democratic education. So we have to understand the digital transformation, know about digital transformation. We need to learn through digital device, digital skills. We have to do this kind of technical development of competencies, and we need to educate for digital transformation. It means participate and co-create this development. We use it a post-digital perspective, so the idea is it's not about online and offline. We live in this world and it's already mixed up. It's not something that happened in virtual realm or in the physical one. And this is what Luciano Floridi said on life. We live a life that's on life. It's mixed up. And this is really easier to understand for younger generation, because they didn't experience the change. And then the last one, and it's, I think that I finished my time, the digital co-determination of the society. So the point is, it's not about that technology impact of the society, and it's not the society decide all what is the technology, but it's a co-determination on the development. So it's not useful to say, oh, the digital do that. It's not the platform that creates hate speech. It's a tool in a way that we can express some kind of emotion, bad behaviors, whatever. And the point is, here, questioning technology. I think that we take for granted technology. Not I, but several experts, actually. And for example, the easiest example is artificial intelligence. Now we have it, so we use it, as they promote it. But why the AI gen is developed? From whom? For who? Which kind of use? So you know, I know the data, but it's not very updated. But for the company that develop artificial intelligence are 98% white young men in the Silicon Valley, basically. So what kind of environment they are creating for women, for black people, for not straight, and so on. And it's a matter of inclusion. And of course, we can go with more example. I skip the question. Yeah. I want just to conclude. We identify 3 main topics to deal with in the analysis of the practices that link into environment and digitality. So to understand how digital transformation interact with the sustainability in terms of ecological, but social and economic. Identity and digitality, it means that my behavior as an individual, as a person, is interconnected with the structures that run the digitality, and of course the governance of digitality. So all this what we reflect on about disinformation, information disorder, and how the media and the platform relate to public institutions. I stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. You posed questions to the audience, so you broke the pattern. Now we'll reverse tables and the audience will be posing questions, but thank you for speaking about the post-digital perspective, the meta hybrid on live, as you called it, existence that we're all leading. And for, of course, focusing on digital identity and all these new important topics. Благодаря още веднъж на доктор Рапети за тази много ефектна презентация и за това, че отвори в нашия дискурс въпроси за постдигиталното време, за транслирането на ново и цифрово, и как се формира практически нашата дигитална идентичност и кого получаваме импулси за нея. Сега е време за въпроси. Време за вашите въпроси.
Triggers it? What triggers it? So, questions and answers. The rule is short question, short answer. We want to be as democratic as possible. We don't want to set a negative example for the next panels. Dobby, thank you so much. Dobriana, she's monitoring for any questions posed online. First, to the audience here, do you have a specific question to any of our presenters?
Никой не поставя въпрос. Впоследствие колелото се завърта и цяла гора от ръце изниква пред нас. И сега ще се получи така. Ако нямате готов въпрос, аз съм се подготвил с няколко такива и много се вълнувам да ви попитам по всяка от темите. Например, по-рано доктор Петров каза, гражданите трябва да са дигитално включени. Какво бихте ли ни казали повече за това как според вас, според форум гражданско участие, може да се случи едно по-широко дигитално включване и така, че дигиталната трансформация действително да е приобщаваща, да не изключва никого, да не изоставя хора, които не само нямат достъп до технологии, но и нямат базисни дигитално-медийни компетентности. Ако може за минута да дадем микрофона, да.
Благодаря. Значи дигиталната грамотност е базова необходимост, за да имаме дигитална трансформация наистина. И се радвам, че в България много организации работят за това. В същото време бих казал, че самата държава прави усилия по различни пътеки да подобри дигиталния достъп на хората до дигитално управление.
А как по-рано поставих този въпрос, само един уточняващ, говорим си за платформи за обществени консултации, за обществено обсъждане онлайн. Мисли ли се за защити срещу така, намеса от тролове, от интегрални схеми, от ботове, срещу опит за изкривяване на дискурса в хода на едно такова обществено обсъждане?
Да, разбира се, че се мисли.
Of course, there are no 100% guarantees. So, for example, in Sofia, how they have come about this. So, we have some issues with the internet right now. Аз го бях изключила.
We can do a break, okay. Добре, значи ще направим кратка пауза. Запомнете мисълта си.
So we'll have a short break.
Да. Yeah, I can also do very short recaps. No problem. Аз ще правя кратки. We have this technical issue, so I will do very short, concise recaps in English for everyone's convenience. Ако искате, може да продължите.
You can continue. Talking about security, and there's this problem of accessibility. Dear participants, do you hear translation? You do, thank you. So, we can use different channels, the access. For example, personal code, digital signature. This, however, may exclude some people who do not have the digital literacy skills, and we can have also fake accounts like trolls. We can, it's difficult to run such so many accounts with a digital signature. So.
The issue is solved. Brilliant. Добре, благодаря. И така, някой има ли въпрос към нашите четирима лектори?
Any questions to our four presenters? Maybe not to Dr. Petrov because he already took some questions. Of course, if you have burning questions to him too, you may ask them.
Thank you for these wonderful presentations. I was wondering, my question is to Dr. Sonia Horozniak. Okay, we have the problem. It's already stated, well documented. Do you have solutions? Do you know what the solutions might be against social disintegration?
$1 million question.
Yeah, if I had those solutions like ready to implement, wow, I'd be a lucky and rich person. Yeah?
At least talking about them.
No, but of course there are some ideas what to do about it. So there are some areas that are specifically problematic. One, as I was saying, it's still education. It still begins in the school level, and I think the thing that the digital rights and digital knowledge is not part of obligatory curriculum in many countries, including Poland, for example, is a great problem. Of course, right now there are, one class taught about this during this, 180-hour semester or something, and it's being ticked, yes, that it's enough. Of course it's not. Of course it's not, and the one thing that I would suggest is to implement it at the European Union level, that this should be obligatory. Find quite problematic is the way the informations are provided to us right now that makes us distrustful, and this is the case, for example, of the journalist. I think that also journalists have supposed to have another separate schooling on how to actually convey information. Because right now we are focusing on emotions, on negative emotions, we are focusing on problems, and if you are already skeptic and you see that everything is bad in the news with a very harsh language, you are becoming only more and more skeptic. So I think this also should be reversed, the way the informations are publicly provided to the people, so that we feel secure turning on television, not scared. So I would say these two areas, I think this is something that we or national governments can start working on right away.
Чудесно, много благодарим на доктор Тя засяга две теми, от една страна дигитално медийно.
You talk about digital competencies that have to be horizontally present in curricula. And the Center for Safe Internet works on that actively. The social emotional education, the prevailing emotions in the public discourse is another important topic. Short questions, short answers. Anyone? Maybe we have a question online. We don't.
It's not online, actually, it's from myself. As already mentioned from the British Council, I'm speaking in English because it's towards our Italian colleague. I wanted to ask, when you have these specialized trainings, especially for young people, do you also include refugee groups, foreign citizens living in Italy? Because I know that there are quite big communities of young people who are foreigners, refugees, especially ones coming from Africa, using Italy as a transit country, let's say. And also any other communities, ethnic minorities. Do you work with this kind of people? How do you approach them? Because as my colleague Georgi mentioned, also as it was discussed with our other panelists, it's very important to be as inclusive as possible, because what we see here, for example, in Bulgaria, in relation to disinformation, and my distinguished colleagues will speak also about that in the other panels, but there are certain groups that are more vulnerable when it comes to disinformation, and usually it's related, of course, to their literacy, and not only media and digital literacy, but literacy in general, because some could be illiterate, especially from some of the Roma minority groups, and usually disinformation messages would target also refugee communities. So that's why I'm interested, because I know Italy has a very strong experience in working with such kind of groups. So I don't know, either you or your organization or maybe partners.
I can speak from like the ground, and it's not about the work we do with their network. I would say that for the minors, we have a kind of system to accompanying them, basically because we have schools. So at schools, we have this specific, I would say, inclusion thinking. I don't know how much it's working, but at least we have it both in a organizational way, logistic way, to think about, I don't know, specific classes for Italian languages or for specific. And we usually this kind of the minors that you mentioned, refugees, they are not accompanied, so they don't have parents usually. And so we have also the social services that take care. The point is how far the school can be inclusion can be, yes, really inclusive. And from another perspective, how far we worry about giving these people citizenship education, because that's another big point. And now with another project, we are working on marginal group and how to promote participation and global citizenship education with this marginal group. Working not on this theoretical, but starting from the ground, starting from small events participation, and then lead some kind of events from them. So that's, but I would not, it's systemic, it's some trying.
Thank you very much. Ci sono anche tanti bulgari in Italia, non sono tanto integrati. Дайте да благодарим много на адвокат Мандаджиева, която има да хване влак и бърза.
She needs to catch a train.
Прави една много силна и полезна и продуктивна презентация и много отворена за диалог с всички.
Informative, good presentation.
Вече един от нашите презентатори не е с
One
нас
of our
и ред да каже, че
presenters
имаме възможност за още един-два заключителни
is not
въпроса.
here in the
Така че ви
panel anymore,
насърчавам
so
да
one
се
or
включите.
two
Доби отново към
closing
теб.
questions.
Извинявам се, този път
Dobby.
от
Now we have a question from Romania. Andreas Troitsas, our colleague, has a question to Dr. Sonia Horonziak.
We have a question from one of our colleagues from Romania. She greets the whole conference. It's our colleague from the British Council, Andrea. You have mentioned that there is a need to embed digital education in the national curriculum, and my colleagues want to check if there are any examples from the countries who already made some steps in this direction, or have they adopted a strategy in this respect?
Yeah, so of course there are some countries that are already so much more advanced at this level. I would say Scandinavian countries in that respect, like for example Sweden. And of course I will refer to my favorite graphs that if you also look at the data from those countries, you can see that they have, for example, higher trust levels. Yes, higher trust levels toward public institutions, toward democratic institutions, towards media. So we see that this actually can work. Of course, there are some moves right now because as it was already said that these are the children that are raised in on life world, but we still treat education and education about digital space as something, like additional. It's the same from 20 years. It's changing. Also, like in Poland, to give you an example, they are trying to implement this. They are more focused around the topics. However, as I say, as long as it's not going to be actually obligatory, we still cannot expect it to improve the education or whatsoever. So I think there are good examples and we should strive to have them, but I would really love to see the implementation of some resolution at the European Union level actually. So thank you for the question.
Thank you very much. Последен въпрос от някого от аудиторията. Сега е времето за заключителен въпрос. Просрочихме малко
This
времето,
would be the final
интересна
question. We
информация
went a
споделиха
bit
нашите
over,
презентатори.
but the information was very interesting.
Всъщност може да ползваш този.
То не е толкова въпрос, но много благодаря.
Not a question. Thank you so much. I followed the presentations closely, and maybe I'm thinking of a topic that may be discussed further. It's not just about the absence of digital literacy skills, especially among the young. This horizontal interconnection, citizenship, active citizenship, digital skills, the lack of this it promotes disinformation. And I would like to see more on this connection. Civic education, civic engagement, civil engagement, and the digital environment. Yes, this would be the bridge towards the next panel. This was great. Very relevant. Let's thank our presenters. Short break. Then panel 2.
For all of you that watch us online, we'll continue after 20 minutes. And that moment, we offer you to show, to see our products from one significant project in Bulgaria, Digital Kids, and 3 videos that are done by a real case of signals given in our national phone number of safety internet.
Аз съм Мария и бях 10-ти клас. Имах си всичко. Приятелки, готини родители, по-голям брат, който ме дразни понякога, но си го обичам. И в училище всичко беше наред. Но имаше един проблем. Не бях напълно щастлива. Нямах гадже. А всички други имаха и постоянно говореха за това. Вече не можех да се включа и в разговорите им. Една вечер, докато учих за един тест, телефонът ми извибрира. Покана за приятелство. Беше на 19. Не го познавах, но изглеждаше симпатичен и реших да му пиша. Започнахме да си говорим по-често. Той беше различен от другите момчета. Интересуваше се от мен. И така продължихме няколко седмици. Един ден Гого ми предложи да се видим по видеочат. Беше мил, чаровен и настоятелен. Двумях се малко, но си казах добре, като се обещах да бъда внимателна. Тогава той предложи да играм на новата му настолна игра. Искаш аз да му казвам, а той да ми мести човечето. Съгласих се, но имаше едно условие. При всяка загуба да сваляме по една дреха. Страхувах се, но си казах добре. Започнахме да играем, аз започнах да губя. Нещата ставаха все по-сериозни. Той настояваше да продължаваме, аз не исках да го разочаровам. В един момент бях останала само по потник и бело. Той ми каза да си сваля потника, разбира се, директно отказах, но той беше твърде настоятелен. Каза ми, че мога да му се доверя. Аз изключих камерата и се съблякох. Той започна да ми казва колко съм красива и че няма от какво да се притеснявам. Повярвах му и включих камерата. Отново изгубих, но вече нямаше как да продължа. Бях останала само по бело и категорично отказах. Тонът му рязко се промени. Каза ми, че това са правилата на играта и че няма връщане назад. Аз не знаех какво да правя. Наистина го харесвах и затова не исках да спра да си пиша с него, но... Затова просто започнах да се събличам възможно най-бързо, за да мога да приключа с играта и тогава го чух. Щрак. Един звук. Една секунда, която срина всичко в мен. Даже не можех да викам, защото изгубих гласа си. Попитах го, снима ли ме. Той ми каза, че е твърде късно да спрем тук и че ако не се покажа цялата, ще изпрати снимката на приятелите ми. В паника просто изключих компютъра. Чувствах се срината и предадена. Какво щеха да си помислят всички за мен, ако видят тази снимка? Той започна да ме заплашва в чата. Къде си? Защо ми затвори? Как може така да се държиш с мен? Предупредихте какво ще се случи. Животът ми беше съсипан.
Ако попаднеш в подобна ситуация, знай, че нямаш вина. Търси помощ, като споделиш с родител, съученик, учител или друг приятел. Подай сигнал в дирекция киберпрестъпност на ГДБОП или в Центъра за безопасен интернет.
След това майка ми влезе в стаята и започна да ме успокоява. Беше ме срам от случилото се, но някак си събрах смелост и разказах всичко. Тя каза, че всичко ще се оправи и че преди време в училище са чули за Център за безопасен интернет. Отворихме страницата им safenet.bg и подадохме сигнал за сексторшън на дете от пълнолетно лице. Блокирах го, докладвах профила му и се успокоих. Не бях сама и това беше най-важното. Научих, че доверието трябва да се заслужи и че никой няма право да ме кара да правя нещо, което ме кара да се чувствам нещастна.
Бъдете внимателни и не се доверявайте на непознати, за да ви е окей в нета.
Аз съм Коко.